The downfall of Teacher Anan. As Mr. Sakon tells the story, Teacher Anan is someone he knows well, and he is the subject of what we are about to discuss. He was the principal of a school in the same sub-district where Sakon lived. His wife Nipa sold food at the school, and they had one son named Udom that was very dear to them. Since Sakon's house was near the teacher's residence, they were quite close, which allowed Sakon to witness the ins and outs of their family life, the good and the bad. On the positive side, he had a bold, tough guy personality. When he loved passionately. However, if he hated someone or felt slighted by them, it almost always turned into a major conflict. On the negative side, he was addicted to gambling and paid very little attention to his duties as a good educator. He would regularly abuse his authority as a principal and use government time for his own personal errands and gambling, and he was known for taking advantage of the junior teachers at the school. Furthermore, he was incredibly protective of his son. If any student ever had a disagreement with him, he would always side with his son, regardless of who was actually right or wrong. Because of this, Udom acted like he owned the school. He became a ringleader, bullying his fellow students, going so far as to start a gang to demand protection money. He would shake the other kids down for their belongings or their cash, making life miserable for everyone around him. Parents would try to report these incidents to Kru Amnoe, but the complaints were always swept under the rug. In fact, things often got even worse for the kids whose parents dared to speak up. Eventually, both the students and the other teachers just gave up. Nobody wanted to get involved anymore. It wasn't just Teacher Anan and his son who were a problem, though his wife was just as bad. She was greedy and exploitative, holding a complete monopoly on the school's sale of food, sweets, and drinks. Even though there was supposed to be a bidding process for the school contract every year, no one else ever won it. It was always her. She charged exorbitant prices for her food. Parents who didn't have much money had to start packing lunches from home for their kids, but for everyone else, they had no choice but to pay up, since hers was the only shop available. Even when teachers and parents tried to protest, the couple just didn't care. As long as they were raking in the profit, they couldn't have cared less about who they were hurting. The ones who truly suffered were the students enrolled in the school. They were frequently bullied and sabotaged, sometimes held back for 3 years under the pretense that they failed their grades or falsely accused of behavioral problems. The teachers were just as miserable. They were consistently denied pay raises because he claimed they had no achievements. Those who wanted to avoid conflict simply had to grin and bear it. On top of that, Teacher Anan loved using government property for his own personal needs. He would sell school supplies that were meant to be given to the kids for free and pocket the cash for himself. Sometimes, he even dipped into the school's actual budget to fund his gambling. The other teachers knew exactly what was going on, but no one wanted to get involved, so they chose to turn a blind eye. Teacher Anan went out to gamble almost every day, leaving other teachers to cover his classes. If they were unavailable, he would just leave the students to mess around in the classroom on their own. On the days when he won, he'd be in an unusually good mood when he returned to school. But on the days when he lost, he'd take all his frustration out on the students, often finding ridiculous excuses to punish them for no reason at all. No one dared to report Teacher Anan's behavior, and for good reason. Someone had tried it before. That teacher was harassed so relentlessly that they were forced to request a transfer to another school just to escape him. Even after formal complaints were filed with the primary education office, nothing changed. Teacher Anan continued to act as he always had, completely unchecked. But there is an ancient truth: do good, receive good; do evil, receive evil. Teacher Anan was no exception to this law of karma. For years, he operated in the shadows, his corruption hidden from the world, with no one daring to step up and stop him. But eventually, the truth has a way of coming to light. The day finally arrived when his behavior was exposed to the public, revealing the wickedness of a man who held the title of the role model of the nation. He was supposed to be a pillar of the community, a role model who understood the difference between right and wrong. But Teacher Anan lived without a conscience, ignoring the consequences of his actions, until it was far, far too late. So, the story goes like this. One day, Teacher Anan went to gamble just as he always did. But there was a critical difference. That day, he was carrying a large sum of cash. He had just returned from collecting the school's maintenance budget, which amounted to a few $1,000s. But as fate would have it, his luck had completely run out. Witnesses who were there say that Teacher Anan played until his pockets were totally empty. Desperate to win the money back, he turned to the other players, but no one would lend him a cent. He even begged the owner of the gambling den, but they refused him too. The dealer wouldn't let him back into the game unless he had cold hard cash in hand. Teacher Anan was absolutely furious. He had lost thousands of dollars, no one would help him, and the dealer wouldn't even let him play. A heated argument broke out, and the tension escalated rapidly as everyone's tempers flared. Blinded by rage and completely losing all sense of reason, he and the dealer lunged at each other, and a full-blown fistfight erupted right there in the middle of the gambling circle. The chaos erupted in the blink of an eye, and everyone around was left stunned. Before anyone could react, 2 gunshots rang out. As the sound died away, Teacher Anan's body slumped to the floor, blood pooling around him in a deep crimson stain. He lay perfectly still. Panic immediately set in, and the onlookers scrambled to flee the scene, leaving behind nothing but his lifeless, blood-soaked body sprawled over the scattered gambling paraphernalia. There was no doubt about it. Teacher Anan was dead. He died still wearing his teacher's uniform, his body left there as a stark testament to the corruption he had cultivated in life. As for the wife and son he left behind, they would have to face the consequences of the karma they had helped create. It is exactly as the saying goes, evil begets evil. The fruits of one's karma, good or bad, will always reveal themselves sooner or later. Teacher Anan's story is a clear example of that truth. Thank you for listening to Thai Local Tales. I'm Captain Piroj. Until our next journey together, take care, stay curious.